Today we are going to talk about Fear and Hunger 2 Termina again. More specifically... No, wait, I'm not done yet. I would like to start by saying that the idea for the mob is good. It's the execution that is the problem. This encounter breaks one of the most fundamental rules for Fear and Hunger enemies, that you can target each limb independently. For some reason, each enemy in the mob is just one blob, like an enemy from an average RPG Maker game instead of Fear and Hunger. What makes this even more frustrating is that 2 out of 3 of the enemies that make up the mob appear independently in other places, and there you can in fact target their limbs, but for some reason when they're in the mob, you can't. Not being able to target different body parts not only stop you from strategically taking out limbs that are holding weapons, but because the enemies are one big blob, in order to actually kill an enemy, you need to deal the amount of damage of all of their body parts combined. You can't focus on the body or take out their legs and go for the head. It's like the game is all of a sudden forcing you to kill these enemies in the least efficient way. All of this makes this encounter make no sense and feel really unfair in a bad way. Okay, so fixing this should be easy. Just let the player target the limbs like usual, right? Well, no, actually it's not that simple. You see, apparently RPG Maker MV limits you to a max of 8 enemies per battle, and with each body part being an individual enemy, the mob goes way past it. So you not being able to target the limbs was most likely not a creative choice by Miro, but a result of a limitation of the engine. Although I have seen places online where they say there are ways to work around this limitation, I don't know enough about RPG Maker MV to actually confirm this. If you know more than me, I would more than appreciate it if you enlighten me in the comments. Nevertheless, maybe we can still reach some kind of compromise with this limitation in mind. I'm thinking of something like having the 2 arms as one separate entity and the rest of the body as another, with the arms having health similar to 2 limbs and the rest of the body having health closer to just the body, maybe a little bit more, simulating focusing on the body. Yet you might say, but that would make the encounter easier, and it's clearly intended to be a pain in the ass. Well, fair enough, but if Miro wanted it to be a pain in the ass, there are other ways to do it. For example, my compromise still leaves room for adding 1 more member to the mob, which could potentially make this encounter even harder in some ways than the one in the game right now, which admittedly might be going too far. There is also another option. The main threat of this fight is the Moonscorched holding the meat grinder, as he can attack you multiple times and has a decent chance to cut off your limbs. It's almost like the game is mocking you for not being able to cut limbs all of a sudden. Anyways, perhaps you can control how difficult this fight will be depending on how much health you give him specifically. You could make both his arms and body really tanky, and perhaps even change him visually to make it make more sense. Maybe make him more moon-scorched and add to his diagnosis that he is starting to develop an exoskeleton like the Bobbies, or perhaps just make him look more beefy or slap some armor on him. And finally, if you want to go really crazy with it, you keep the tanky meat grinder wielder, but replace the half cocooned with a much weaker normal villager. But here's the kicker: every time a normal villager dies, it is replaced by another through reinforcement in the next turn, with the only way to actually end the fight being to kill the meat grinder wielder and then the others, with the rest of the much bigger mob now dispersing after you kill their strongest warrior. You can even make the mob seem bigger in the overworld to give it the final touch of actually feeling like a gigantic crowd of people. Now, this has a chance of making a fight that was already very difficult into one that is way too hard. However, if you balance it correctly with the amount of health you give the meat grinder, this could turn the mob into a much more interesting battle strategically, while giving it the feel of an actual mob rather than just 3 guys. But enough of me rambling. Maybe you have a much better solution, or perhaps you think the mob is good as is. Whatever your opinion is, I would very much appreciate it if you share it in the comments. Now, before you go, if you feel like it, there is actually something else I would like your help with, and it might sound a bit odd. You see, a day after I finished recording this video, I re-listened to what I've recorded, and all of a sudden a fuzzy memory, a really unclear one, of someone else's video, a bigger video criticizing Termina as a whole, one that had a section about the mob in it, came up. With me vaguely remembering it had a similar idea to the last one I had about the endlessly reinforcing mob. This led to anxiety that there is a chance I was unconsciously plagiarizing the video of someone else, and so, like a madman, I searched and searched for a video I'm not sure even existed, and even though I didn't find anything, it didn't bring me peace, because YouTube search is garbage, and even when you have more than a vague memory, it's really hard to find a specific video. So if this video is not a figment of my imagination, and you by any chance know it, then please link it in the comments below, so I can take my video down at least until I change some things and give credit where credit is due. And with that weird request, I thank you very much for watching this video until the end. Until next time.